Hello and welcome to the Blood Brothers podcast, and it's our Iceland special. It's me, Rob Parker. I'm by myself today, but only in terms of my other Blood Brothers colleagues, because I've got two fabulous guests. I've got Sólveig Pálsdóttir and Óskar Guòmundsson with me today. How are you both?
Fine,
Great.
thank you for having me.
Thank you for having me.
It's just
Great.
wonderful. And I must say, listeners, these two wonderful authors were kind enough to give me a week's grace because my young boy had chickenpox last week. So there are some wonderful people in the writing world, aren't there? So with that in mind, we usually start with a quick question about your most recent books. And if I could start with yourself, Sólveig, you are the author of the Iceland Crime series, which comprises The Fox and Silenced. Listeners, these are two brilliant books which I've had the pleasure of reading recently. I urge you to go out and go out there and get them. But would you mind telling us a little bit about the Iceland Crime series, please?
Yeah, it's my main character is Guòmundsson, a policeman. I think the idea about his character came up with me because I got a bit tired of, the typical Scandinavian policeman who drinks too much and has really huge problems in his personal life, but likes poem, right? Likes to, listen to classical music or read poem or anything or something like that. I mean, I got a bit tired of that character because I know few policemen that are completely different, just normal family guys. Of course, they have difficulties because of their difficult work and sometimes stressful work, but they have that in common, that they live a rather good family life. I think it's they need the opposite of all the ugliness they have to face in their work. That's why they protect their family life and try to live as good life as they possibly can, just to balance.
Yes, I understand.
You understand what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. The work-life balance, because of course the cost. What the impression I definitely got is, and in all the books we're talking about today, is the sheer cost of the job of policing is so high, isn't it? Mentally, personally, professionally.
Yes.
Crushing.
So these three guys I know in the police, in the criminal area, hvað kallar maður það aftur, Óskar? In the criminal department.
Crime scene.
It's their they try to get their that they need this they need to balance and try to protect their own personal life as well as they can, try to keep a good marriage and a good relationship with their children, just to because they need the healthy and good things in life to not just to keep their personality safe.
Keep sane.
It keeps in. Not to get insane, to keep sane.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
understand? And that's why I created Guòmundsson. Of course, he has problems in his personal life, don't we all?
Yes.
But he tries. He tries, and he is right-minded and tries to be honest and respectful most of the time. He tries, even though it's hard sometimes. And and then the other characters came up. There are two women Cyrus and Elsa Guðrún. She's called Elsa Guðrún in the English version, but only Guðrún in the Icelandic. Book. Yeah. It's because of the two G's, you know.
Yes, right.
My translator didn't want, you know, to have two characters with the same first letter.
Right, I see.
Guðrún. That's why she's called Elsa Guðrún. But my first book that was translated to English by Quentin Bates was The Fox. But The Fox is the fourth book in the series. Yes, not the first one. And Guðrún, who's called Elsa Guðrún, she appears in the first book, but in the second book, she's off work, you know, she moves to another place, so she does not appear again until Silenced, I think, she appears a little bit in The Fox, and then in Silenced. My fifth book. So
gosh, I was doing the maths in my head, so that was what, that's 5.
She was on a hold. She had twins, so she had to go.
Right,
for a maternity leave.
Got it. Excellent.
But I was always thinking about her character because I liked her so much, and that's why I just picked her up again. She got divorced. She moved again to Reykjavik and started to work at the police department again. So, yeah. Now
I love it though, this balance of the family life though. I love it. No, it's because there's so many questions now I want to jump in with, but I'm going to keep the conversation going, freewheeling it around. So yourself, Óskar, because there's so much I want to now jump on there, but I know that we can tie all this together when talking about your fabulous book, The Commandments. Could you tell us a little bit about The Commandments, please?
Yes, I can. When Sólveig mentioned that there was a different name between the Icelandic and the English version, it was a similar thing by me. There was a character named Rabbi, and Quentin said it's too close to Rabbi, so we changed the name of him. We're
getting all the information already here, all the inside secrets.
Yeah. Won't ruin anything. It's about violation. The thing was that I was writing about violation from the people that you trusted the most, either in sport or the youth area, and now I'm taking on the priest matters and church matters, which has occurred here in Iceland every now and then. And I have a close relation to this matter. I had a really good friend when I was a kid, 13, 14 years old. And a priest approaches us, and to make a long story short, I was really lucky to get out of the situation, but my friend wasn't so lucky.
Gosh.
So I had promised myself, even before I knew that I was going to be a writer, it stuck in my head, and I was always thinking, someday I'm going to tell this story. And then when I got to be a writer, then I finally saw the opportunity to write about it. But I'm not writing about that particular story, but that is the layer, the lowest layer of the story, that everything that happened, and my story and my experience and my friend's experience built up that story that I'm telling in the Commandments.
Gosh, that's so quite personal in a way, this one, a real personal connection to this one for you. Which, having read the book, you know, and I didn't know that at the time, obviously, when I read it. So Gosh, that's really something. And it talks about that in a way, writing can be so cathartic, can't it? You know, in a way of working out. Certainly, I use it in myself sometimes to work out how I feel about certain things. You know, to challenge myself in that way. And of course, we've got another great character here in Salka. Have I said that right? Salka?
Yeah, Salka. Yes.
Salka, yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah. She is more. I really like what Sólveig was telling us about her character, and she wanted to break away from this typical police officer. Salka is in a way a typical, but except that she is not an alcoholic. Like but she is. She used to live in UK and working by the police force there with her family, husband and a little daughter. Then something happens to their daughter that I'm not going to tell you about now.
Yeah.
But that's a reason. One of the reasons they moved to Iceland. And she is going to relax and try to get a grip of her life. And there is what happened there by their family affects her a lot. And they got divorced. And they are both from north of Iceland, Akureyri, which is the location and the surrounding area. And she used to work with the police force in Akureyri. It's a capital of north of Iceland, so to say. Not very big though. And she ended up helping and working on a case there. She wasn't especially going to do that, but she ended up doing that, and that's what the story is about, her working on this case.
Brilliant. And I'm glad you mentioned the spoilers thing, because I'm terrible with spoilers. I'm the one who gives them away. So I'm keeping my mouth very, very shut, very carefully at the moment. But like, I loved the themes of the books that we're talking about today. They all marry up, don't they? The themes of, for me, I just keep thinking about very dark secrets and justice. And, you know, and all these three books in particular really approach those themes in the strongest terms, and challenge me. You know, I love being challenged as a reader. I really love that. You know, and I love being asked difficult questions of myself, like, well, what would you do in that situation, Rob? You know, and how would you feel, that kind of thing, and on all sides of that fence, you know. So I find it absolutely fascinating. But Sólveig, why do you think that the topic of secrets, those topics and themes of secrets and justice, are so popular with readers? Why do you think we always get drawn to these things?
I don't know, but I think most families have their secrets, don't they? And maybe, so many have some secrets that they don't want to share, you know, just want to keep for themselves.
Yeah.
And you know, I think it's there's you know, you don't have to dig through your family story for that long until you see some things that were not supposed to be seen.
So it's like it's just very much just under the surface, maybe.
Yes,
you know,
yes,
not very buried.
Yes. But I write a lot about power balance, you know, and inequality. And you can find that, you know, inside the families or just, you know, in the society. And I'm really interested in the impact inequality has on our lives.
Yes.
And how we live our lives.
Yeah.
I find it really interesting.
Yes, and sort of it's you would like to think that it would be evolving, that, you know, that question, you would like to think it would be evolving. Myself, I've got 2 daughters and a son. Who the poor boy with chickenpox, who we've mentioned.
I hope he's okay.
He's okay. He's having a great time. He's watching YouTube or something. But as much as I wish he was holding a book, but he's only 4. What can I do? But I constantly I feel that balance too, you know. And I feel like with my girls, I want to drive them, you know, like really, and show them that you can go kick as much butt as you want, because you can, and you are able to do that, you know, and go ahead and do it. And I've not got to that stage with my young boy yet, but I already feel that difference in my head in a way, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I wish it wasn't that way.
No. And it, you know, like Andrea in Silenced, you know, the social media influencer.
Yes, yeah.
She thinks she has chosen her role by herself, you know, but she hasn't.
Yes.
And she thinks she makes an impact on people's life, but she doesn't, you know.
Yes.
And you know, she does not understand at the beginning that, you know, she is kept there, you know. This is like the golden cage.
Yes.
And she really believes that she has that she is, you know, good in what she is doing, and she is, you know, putting her mark, making her marks on the society. But I'm not going to reveal anything.
Because
no
I'm literally
here,
keeping my mouth tightly shut.
But it's a very good example for this.
Yes.
Andrea.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I will urge listeners again to expand on this, because we could have a spoilers chat here, couldn't we? But we mustn't do that.
You can always use the beep beep.
Yes, no. I did that in one episode, and it was more beeps than talking. So I can't be trusted. What about yourself then, Óskar? What do you think about these themes of secrets and justice that means we want to read about this?
I think we are all, although we admit it or not, I think we all want to have this a little peek inside the windows by other people, or peek behind the door. And that's the way I when I'm writing a scenes in my books, I find it more, can I say, attractive, or I think it's more excitement when I like to use the smell and your ears more than your eyes. And if you know and hear that something is happening behind that closed door, it's much more horror to it.
I love it. And
I take you inside the door, inside the room, I mean, and reveal everything that's happening there. I think that I'm always working with that method to write the crimes, and also through I don't know if you remember it in Commandments. I also like to build, you know, that something is going to happen to this person, and then I really like to have them to have a great conversation.
Yes.
Just before something happens.
Yeah.
So I really don't like to smear it in your face, and I always try, because you are always trying. I'm not saying that I'm doing these things, because I'm just trying. I can only hope that I have succeeded it.
But, I can say yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, because I really want the readers to use their own imagination, because the readers, I think the books are mostly better than the movies, because the readers, they are the best directors.
I love it. Yeah, totally agree with that. Totally agree. Because your imagination fills in the blanks in much, I think imagination fills in the blanks in much worse and darker ways than you could write at times, you know.
Yes.
And that adds that horror and uncomfortable feeling, you know, exponentially, I think. It's interesting that, Óskar, you're talking about your process a little bit there. Our listeners really love hearing about how our guests got to become a writer in the first place, because a lot of people that listen to us are aspiring writers themselves. And, you know, I'm also love hearing the story. So could I ask, how did you, Óskar, get to where you are?
It's a really simple answer to that. I was getting 50, so it was now or never.
There's always a good answer to this question. There really is, honestly. Amazing.
So, no, I mean, I have been reading since I was a kid, and I have also been writing for my own shelf. You know, never dare to show it to anybody. But when I was reading and when I was getting this journey to this, that was laying there between the pages in the book that you were reading, and you go into various situations and you get scared and all kinds of stuff, even in love, you know, you got all mixed feelings. I loved that, and I was always thinking about, wouldn't it be lovely to write something yourself? So it stuck to my mind that maybe one day I will go for it. So I went for it.
I love it. That's another brilliant. Yeah, I love it. Super. What about you, Sólveig? How did you get to where you are now?
Yeah, that's a long story. How much time do we have?
Go for it.
Yeah, I started as an actress. I have a degree from the Icelandic Theatre School, and I was working as an actress for 10 years or so, and I sometimes do still.
Excellent.
And after I had my third child, I got tired of it. It was too, complicated. Too little money and just complicated. So I went to the university and had a degree in literature and teaching and started to teach. But I've always been involved with both cultural things and I had radio programs and, but I've been reading since I was just 5 years old, and I always read a lot. And I think that's the main thing you need to do if you want to become a writer. Read.
Totally agree.
Yes. And I just loved books, and I do. And then I got a bit tired of teaching, and I started to miss a lot the creative, I felt that I've been betraying my creating side of my personality. You understand what I mean?
Yes, I do. Yeah. You kept that kind of thing buried a little bit, and then you wanted to go back to it. Exactly.
Yeah, there was a hole in my heart I needed to fill.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I went to a writing course, in creative writing, and it did a lot for me. Even though I had my degree in literature, this was something I wanted to do. I just, and the teacher encouraged me a lot. So I started to write in my spare time. I was a full-time teacher by that time, and by then, and it took me 2 years, and then I went to the biggest publisher in Iceland, and my first book, The Actor, based on my, experience from the theater. It's not a true story, no, it's fiction. But I'm writing in my first book, The Actor. It was published 2012, about exactly the things we call Me Too today.
Ah, I see. Yes.
Many years before, because,
Yeah.
I've witnessed a lot and I experienced a lot myself. And I was writing about that. I used that experience to write about difficult things.
Right.
And the book starts when an actor suddenly dies on a film set. And that was a success. So now I have written 7 books.
Brilliant.
And I'm a full-time writer.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, and both of these stories about coming to publication are about following your gut, your dream, your heart. I love that. Again, because we always say this, that when you end up being an author, it's not by accident, is it? It's like you really worked hard and poured yourself into this, and in both instances we're talking about today as well, like used your life experiences as well to propel this forward.
Exactly. I wouldn't have been a good writer like 20 years ago or 30 years ago. No, I didn't have the experience, just life experience. And then, my experience from the theater, learning, and with my training as an actor and literature and my training as a teacher, I taught literature and Icelandic, So it all came together.
In one perfect package in the end, like
Yes.
all the planets aligned, so to speak,
Yes.
and
Yes.
everything worked.
Yeah.
I know that you're both in translate, and you work with Quentin Bates, you mentioned earlier, Sólveig. I was lucky enough to, when I first started writing and was coming out of my shell, I was very shy at the beginning, but in 2014, I saw Quentin at Bloody Scotland, the festival. And I dared myself to go over and say hello to him, along with Yrsa Sigurdardóttir.
Yes,
did I say that right? Yeah. And they were both. Thank you. And they are both so lovely, both just wonderful. But they gave me so much encouragement at the time that it made me really press on, really, really work hard. They were so lovely. And I don't think either of them will ever remember it. When I saw Quentin years later, I said to him, the words you told me that day really informed me, and really cheered me up. And he couldn't remember, it must happen all the time, but he was like, oh, well, I'm glad whatever we talked about was really helpful. But Óskar, how is it working with Quentin?
It's lovely. He is such a lovely guy, and you can feel that he will try to do everything for you, and I love the guy. Simply, it's so the great. Journey during this the translation of the commandment. It was so joyful, and we had fun.
Oh, that's so good. What is it like? None of my work has ever been translated into anything else, any other language yet. So what is it like going through that process?
It is, it's reminded me a little bit when my first book was edited, from when I got with all this red text in my script, and sometimes I wanted to cry, sometimes I wanted to scream, sometimes I was really angry. But I think the one of the best thing I learned during all this process was getting the criticism. You have to get them as your best friend.
Yes.
It is not your enemy. So when you get that, when you understand it, how much help is hiding there, laying there in front of you, it's then the magic even, you get better and better the sooner that you accepted these things. But in the translation, it was almost a feeling. But from the very beginning, I also trusted Quentin so much for what he was doing. And I have read, he was, for example, he had translated the books from Lilja Sigurðardóttir, and I read one book that he had translated, and I mean, my English is not so good, but I think you can sense it if it is good or bad, or if it is done in a hurry or with care.
Yes, I see.
And that's what I felt when I was reading Lilja book, and of course the commandments. I sensed that, and that was a really, really great feeling.
That's wonderful to hear.
Yeah,
wonderful to hear. Would that mirror your experiences, Sólveig?
Yes, completely. Quentin is so easy to work with, and everything was just smooth. There were no problems, and he had just done the work, and I read it over and I was just happy. The only thing we needed to change about silence was the name of the Guðrún, Elsa Guðrún, and then there was one or two small things in the fox. Nothing, nothing else. Quentin, he understands Iceland and Icelanders, the Icelandic society so well, because he lived here.
Yes. I saw him in a talk, and he gave a bit of a history of his life story and how he got to where he is.
Yeah, and then
so important. Yes,
it's so important, and so all the the little nuances, he understands them, and then his wife is Icelandic, so as he says himself, he has a living encyclopedia about Iceland in his house. And Quentin, he's so easy. He's so easy.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think when this episode comes out, I'll tag him in the the description, so that he can come and have a listen to all the nice things we're saying about him.
He's one of the nicest men I've ever known.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. That's so nice to hear. And moving sort of slightly sideways, you've just both been to Iceland Noir. Would that be right? Yeah.
Yes.
That usually in my life, that is the sort of the weekend where I almost have to turn social media off. I'm so jealous about what everyone is doing. But I mean, I really wanted to talk about books and Iceland, and the relationship between books and Iceland. And let's start. Sólveig, could you tell me a bit about the book flood, please?
Oh yes, the annual book flood, Christmas book flood. It starts in October, and it's crazy until Christmas, because when I was growing up, every person, every member of the family got at least like 5 or 6 books for Christmas. Now it's more like 1 book or so, but I think most people do get 1 book at least. But now it has changed a little bit in that way. People, they buy their own books to read the weeks before Christmas, so they can discuss them.
I see.
Yes, and the Christmas book flood time is it's a busy time for authors, because we have to go everywhere to do readings and chat and blah blah blah, so on. It was not fun last year in the COVID. It was mostly Zoom. The first week of the book floods were really busy in my case, but then events started to get cancelled or put on the internet. But I feel that it's getting better now. People are more calm, you have to have your test, and you have to have your,
the vaccine and the get vaccinated.
Then it's okay. Get vaccinated. Then it's okay. But it's a great time. People talk and talk and talk about books. How is this one? Have you read that one? Blah 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 blah. And it's so much fun for book lovers. This is the best time of the year. Don't you agree, Óskar?
Yeah, I love this time. I really love. Because you mentioned Iceland Noir.
Yeah,
I'm one of the organizing this festival with Yrsa Sigurðardóttir, Ragnar Jónasson, and Eva Björg Ægisdóttir, and we have it every second year, always. But because of the pandemic, it got a little tricky. So we held it this year, but we are also going to hold it at the same time next year. And we are having a early bird now, so you definitely should check that out. And I'm seeing you next year. I will send you the link.
Please do. All right, I'm going to have to go through and tell my wife in a minute that I'm sorry, next year. I'm sorry. I love the link between, like the importance of books here. And I just love that, because I'm lucky enough to go to a number of schools around where I live at home, and books seem to be ever further pushed down the list of priorities, and to celebrate them for this prolonged period of time is got me thinking that I want to move to Iceland immediately. That's just the only solution here, I feel.
Yeah, but this is so important to face in our here in Iceland, this book flood. I mean, since I was a kid, like Sólveig was saying, I loved this time, and the most excitement was what book am I getting now? What books lays under the Christmas tree? And I always remember I was 15, 16, and there was no book, and I was just devastated that I didn't got any book. And then it got even more unreal for me when I was a part of the book flood after writing my first book. And onto the top list and fighting all this the game, or what you can call it, and so it was unreal to be a part of it, and suddenly you're getting to know all these big stars you have been reading for all these years. So it was amazing.
That is so great to hear as well, because I must admit, like I'm such a fanboy. So when I get to go to these places, like we've got at the weekend Newcastle Noir is back, so I'm going up there, a panel there, and I'm like a kid, like look who's over there, like, oh my god, look who's over there, that kind of thing. And I just sort of freak out for the whole time I'm at these things, and just enjoy it so much. And it's the same when one of the first things that when I that really excited me was when you start getting proofs in the post, and like people would send you books. I'm thinking, people are sending me books, and they're early, they're not even out yet. Oh my god, it's just so. And then
I have to tell you one thing. Our main day, Christmas Day, is the 24th of December, not the 25th. The evening at 6 o'clock, Christmas starts. And the family have the Christmas dinner together. It's very, it's
traditional.
Yes, lovely. Traditional. And then you open up the presents and so on. So people chat a lot about, and they talk a lot about the presents. Only one open at a time. And then is the best thing after a great evening with the family is to go to bed with your book.
Oh.
And read through the night. And then on Christmas morning, it's just easy. You eat you have the leftovers from the night before, and continue reading.
Right, that is enough. We're packing up. We're going. We're leaving, darling. Oh,
and light the candles. And watch the snow.
So great, seriously. I mean, right, I'm already in love with Iceland. I've been a big fan of Icelandic literature for some time now, and I'm in love with. I've got like obviously my own pictures in my head about the geography and the landscape, and having never been there myself, which won't last much longer, Oscar. Won't last much longer. I just, what is it about Iceland that just creates so many great stories, or gives writers a chance to put so many great stories together? What is it about for yourselves about Iceland? What is it for you?
In my case,
yeah.
oh, okay, excuse me.
No, start, Sólveig, please.
Okay. In my case, I think it's the nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you mean like the nature of people, or the nature like the outdoors?
Both, but first and foremost, I get my ideas from the nature because I travel a lot around the country, and I spend a lot of time in the nature. For example, where the fox is located is yeah. And when I look at the high mountains and all this, like mountains as they look like razor blades, like in the Eastfjords, and they are so overwhelming. Then I start to put the characters inside the landscape, and the storyline starts to create itself. Yeah. My imagination starts working.
Yeah.
And almost kicked off by what it is around you. Like you'll be inspired by what you're seeing and hearing and feeling, and then suddenly the story blossoms from there. My newest books
takes place a lot, partly takes place in Westman Islands. It's a small volcanic island on the south coast of Iceland. And I got the idea when I spent some time there.
Amazing. What about you, Oscar? What do you think?
Yeah, I think a part of it, I think it's the darkness. Although Commandments, I broke, I think, a little tradition in writing a crime, because most of the books happen in a bad weather, a lot of snow and a lot of darkness. Because during the winter time here, we only have several hours of light. But in the Commandments, I wanted to fight with the fact that during the summer you don't get any dark at all. So you can't use the darkness to hide or do something bad stuff in the dark. I wanted to challenge myself in that way. But I think the Icelandic writers, we have to be more careful, I think, than other countries, because there's a few crimes here in Iceland, so to say. I mean, we have not a lot of murders or something like that. So you have to be careful because you have to sell your story. You have to make it believable to the readers. And I mean, you don't read books here where a car is exploded and you don't see people hanging in a rope from an airplane and stuff like that. Because nobody here will believe it. You just have to go to Hollywood to read or see movies about that stuff. But you can't do that here. So I think that that is a reason that we are working simply more on the human nature, what we are capable of, what can we do, what can you do here in this island surrounded by sea. I mean, you are not going to run to the next state or something, or so easily to another country. So there's a lot of things here that can challenge you, and that makes it so much fun.
I can, and in that sense, it must make you work harder. Like you've got to work harder to make these things work.
You have to do that.
Yeah, maybe that's why fiction from Iceland has such an identity of its own.
Yeah, because the readers, they can, early on in the book, they can just say, this is bullshit. I don't believe a word this writer is telling me. So you have to be careful. So you have to, sometimes I have wrote a scene or something, and when I read it, then I have to, very, very often, I have to tone it down.
Wow, that's absolutely fascinating.
You know that Icelandic, policemen in Iceland, they don't carry weapons. They don't carry guns.
Yes. Yeah. It's
just pepper spray.
It's funny because obviously over here in the UK they don't either, although there are armed units and things like that. So I took one of my characters to America, and suddenly I made a point of him going like, there are guns everywhere here. This is so much easier.
Yeah, that's right. Let's get some action.
Yeah.
But I think that fact we need to, having that fact that policemen don't carry weapons, except for the special apartment called the Viking police.
You don't want
we have to work so hard on the psychological things. We have to, when we are writing, we have to, think so much about, not the excitement with guns and things like that, just what is happening inside, all the psychological.
Yeah,
am I using the right word?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because you can't just manufacture the tension by a gun being there. You have to come up with other ways to drive the drama and the action forward without the easiest thing of all. Yeah. That's brilliant. Could I ask you both, while we're on the topic and we're celebrating Iceland here, aren't we? You're not allowed to say each other, but could you tell me who another Icelandic author I should be reading right now? Sólveig, how about you? Who should I? But you're not allowed to say Óskar.
Are you looking for an author who writes crime?
Oh, no, anything actually. I think this is a chance to shout about an author from Iceland who you think people should be paying more attention to. Yes. Have you read? I've got a pen so I can make a note as well.
Have you read the Quaintance translation of Stormbirds?
No, I haven't.
By Einar Kárason.
Right.
I think it's called Stormbirds in English.
Brilliant.
The latest book.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's enough. He has. Yeah. And then I would recommend a book called Angels of the Universe.
Cool.
It came out like 20 years ago here in Iceland by Einar Guòmundsson. And he got, it's you read it almost in every school today.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a story about his brother who was mentally ill.
Right.
And it's a really good story. And it has been translated into, I think, like 40 different languages. It's the first thing that came up to my mind. But,
that's great.
Yeah.
This is honestly one of my favorite bits of the show. When I get lots of new recommendations. What about you, Óskar? Who would you like to shout about?
Yeah, I'm actually reading 2 books now. One Icelandic and one English. The English one is from David Fennell, The Art of Killing.
Oh yeah.
His latest book. It's really, really exciting. And I'm reading Yrsa now, Log or Lies. I don't know how you should translate it, but she is not I don't think she is yet in English. I don't know, but it's really, really good. Excellent. Also. But then I mean, the book that Sólveig mentioned is one of my favorite books. The Angels. What do you call it?
Angels of the Universe.
Angels of the Universe. It's such a brilliant book, and it just stick with you for years and years.
Wow.
And yeah, I think that's it.
Cool. I mean, I hope someone gets me Angels of the Universe for my book club this year. That's I'm going to tell my family, you're going to start doing this book club thing for me, please.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned that's what you're reading at the moment, Óskar, but what are you reading at the minute, Sólveig?
At the moment?
Yeah.
I just finished an Icelandic book. It's not a crime book, but it hasn't been translated. It just came out, and I'm not sure it will be translated. They are not all books translated, only few. And it's called, if I translate myself, it's called How to Count Up to a Million. Up to a million. Yeah.
Cool.
It was really good, really good. And then I have to, talking about books, Quentin is just, I think now in December, he will start to translate the third book from me, my newest book that just came out in October.
Right, because that was my next question. What is next for you? So is this what's next, the third in the Ice and Crime series?
Yes, yes. The series are, you can read them as a standalone. That's okay, but it is a series, but you can read it as a standalone. And the newest book is called Skaði in Icelandic. You can translate it as, it's here.
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Listeners, you can't see, but that's a great looking book.
Thank you. Thank you. You can translate as harm or damage or ruin. I'm not sure what the English title will be. And it takes place in Westman Islands and Reykjavik. And I'm thinking about so many things in that book. For example, people that take drugs to try to solve their problems. And I'm not talking about the usual drugs. I'm talking more about like ayahuasca. You heard about ayahuasca?
Forgive me, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No.
Okay. It's have you tried it?
No, should we?
There are some that think that you can solve your problems like a quick fix.
Wow.
By taking this thing that is, and
let me make a quick note of this one.
Yeah.
Sounds promising.
I know everything about the.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and do you know when that will be released in the UK? Actually,
I think next summer.
Next summer, awesome.
I think so. Yeah.
Look out for that one, listeners. And Óskar, what about you? What's next for you?
I just published my book in the middle of November. It's a book called, in English, The Dancer. It's about a young ballet dancer which has a terrible upbringing, which leads to terrible things. And it has been a great fun working on this book. It was also difficult because it happened in 1982 here in the center of Reykjavik, and I myself was a teenager at that time, and I know this area very well, and it was great fun writing it, and takes a lot of place in the Icelandic theater, national theater, where the ballet dance group worked. And I also got this crazy idea, and I thought my publisher was just going to laugh at me. I asked him, what do you think about making a song with lyrics and text that so that the book and the song can have some kind of conversation? And he said, yeah, that's a great idea. So then he got brilliant musicians, and they wrote the song. Yeah. And it is, the singer is one of our most famous and beloved pop singer in Iceland. And they even made a brilliant, beautiful, I think it's a piece of art, the video that they put with it. And this experience really made success, because the book and the song and the video, they are really having a conversation.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible.
I sent you the link.
Please do, because that's another first that I've heard of. That is amazing.
It was a brilliant idea, Óskar.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Daniel August is one of my favorites.
Yeah, and he is also, the book is also as an audio book, and the singer is also reading the book there. So this is a really great.
It's like a mass media project, isn't it? Yeah, this is incredible. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll look out for that. Will that be coming to translation as well, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I have to call Quentin.
Oh, well, Sólveig and Óskar, it's been such a great hour. Thanks so much for your time today. Absolutely lovely having a chat with you both. Just dead grateful. I feel illuminated and excited, and I really have to get to Iceland and Iceland Noir as quick as possible.
See you next year.
You're going to hold me to that, aren't you, Óskar? You really are.
Please do, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Great honor to be with you, and I have so much fun.
Oh, thank you so much for your time today, and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Likewise.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
See you later.
Yes.
Bye. Hi, I'm Rob.
I'm Simon.
And I'm James.
We want to talk about those movies. Those supposedly bad movies. Those movies that bombed.
To see if they weren't that bad after all, join us every other Tuesday on the For Your Reconsideration podcast, part of the Pod Dojo podcast network.
You can catch us on iTunes, Spotify, and all your usual podcast apps.
And it won't cost you a solitary bean, mate.
It's like it's free.
It's just like it's free.